The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Dueling Comedians, where two comedians clash to see whose comedy kills and who gets killed.
Figuratively speaking, of course.
All this to determine who claims the coveted Dueling Comedians trophy. This is Dueling Comedians.
I guess I don't have to repeat that, but this is Dueling Comedians. It's our inaugural show.
The first one?
The first one. My guest today is Artie Januario.
Hello.
And we should be clear that we won't actually be dueling.
No.
Although our relationship is such that it could come to that at times.
Well, I brought a sword.
That good.
Just in case.
All right. Well, I've got a howitzer, so.
Well, I've seen it.
It goes in my favor right away. Artie and I have been doing stand-up together for quite some time.
Yes.
Artie, not only a fine and talented stand-up comedian, but during the day, a legitimate card-carrying, licensed guy who dispenses pills.
Well, that's the crude way to put it.
That's one way of putting it. You're a pharmacist.
Yes, that's the hacky way to put it, Anthony.
the pharmacist?
I'm a registered pharmacist.
A registered pharmacist.
I hate those introductions when people, like, we won't mention anybody who's usually at Giggles, that says something like, oh, he brings, how about, and the one from the barber there in Malden. He always says, oh, you can buy pills from him at Stop and Shop. Come on up there and get your pills. He'll be giving pills out to everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the pharmacist. And I'm thinking, Jesus, you make it sound like I'm giving drugs
away. No, because in that profession, that side of your profession, you actually have to be professional.
Right.
And people don't want to come to somebody who's going to go, hey, pull my finger, here's some pills. Right. You want to, How'd you get into
pharmacy? It was easy. I went to college. Oh, into stand-up. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, you were a pharmacist.
I still am, and I was, and I didn't start comedy till I was 44 years old, and I don't know why.
You don't know?
I did it.
It just grabbed you one day.
It wasn't like one of those deals where people saying, oh, you're very funny, you should try stand-up. You know what I mean? It was just something I thought I could do.
Right.
You know?
And I remember seeing you early on. You worked at Harvard.
I was at Harvard University when I started. Right. And I would walk over to a comedy club over there, and I'd see comedians, and I'd think to myself, wow, these guys aren't funny.
I can do that.
Exactly.
Right. Which is the way a lot of people get started.
And I thought to myself, do they get paid for that?
Right.
I mean, shit, I could get paid for that, to do that.
Yeah, right.
You know, and that's kind of how I started.
Right.
And I met you there too. And
that's where we first met. Right? Yeah. But also, and I think this is very interesting, ironically funny too. We're around the same age, and we don't need to say what that is. Right.
Because I remember speaking to you early on in different things. We weren't even talking about comedy much. We were just talking about like life and stuff. And we mentioned like the Who concert in 1972, and you're like, "Oh, I was there."
Right?
I was there too. Right. And then Somerville.
And we were probably at parties together.
Yeah.
You're from Revere.
This guy, and you knew
that
this guy, and Carmen, and the Black. Yeah. It's like the Blackfriars killings. We had a connection there.
Oh yeah.
It was weird.
So it's like having a long lost friend, like some of you haven't seen.
It's funny too, because you meet people at a certain time in your life. People cross your paths. Whereas if we crossed paths earlier and became friends, probably would not have been as friendly as we are now.
And let's be realized, one of us would probably be dead.
Probably.
More than likely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From the people that we dealt with and know. Or knew back then.
You used to deliver more than balloons.
More than every now and again. Yeah.
Tony used to deliver balloons.
And so then this voice in your head said, comedy.
And and I actually, believe it or not, I have an uncle that was a priest. He's passed on now, and he found out that I started doing it, and my wife said the same thing. She goes, "Look, if you're gonna do it. Don't waste everybody's time.
Yeah, I hate dabblers.
In your own."
Yeah, right.
And everybody thought I was just dabbling. Oh, he's a pharmacist. What's he doing this for? And you're not very good when you start anyway. So, but I wanted to get good, and I wanted to get good fast. So I was doing 5-6 shows a week.
Which is the way you got to do it if you're going to do stand-up,
Right.
is to get up on stage and suck in front of real people.
In front of nobody sometimes.
Right,
It'd be like this. It'd be like two guys. Like one comedian's girlfriend would be sitting there and she'd only laugh at him. You know?
Right. Like it was a contest.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. Like people do contests. We have comedy contests. It's the funniest pharmacist or the funniest fireman or whatever. And then people bring like 30 people to the show.
Right.
And the guy says something about, sticking his toe, in the light socket. Everyone goes, "Rah!" And another guy's got a clever bit and they nothing because they think it matters. Right.
Your son Gus is going through that now.
Yeah,
probably.
Gus does.
With
My
the
son
open
Gus.
mics.
Yeah.
And then I got to be, people were telling
Right.
me like I was getting decent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Keep working, slow down, don't swear too much, this and that.
Do
So I
this
started
and that,
getting-
right.
And I migrated towards, the older guys because I was an older guy. I was
Right.
on open mics with like Joe List, who was 17, and I'm 44, he's 17,
Right.
and we're going to open mics together. So, I didn't have much in common with some of the other open micers.
But, and I saw something in you, which I see, there's very few people I'm friendly to everybody. That's my stock and trade.
Right.
It's not my business to keep anyone out of the business. But you gravitate toward people who you have a like-minded spirit or mindset. And
Twisted. Kinda twisted.
Hey, you go, hey, this is my tribe, right? Yeah, he's part of me, And so you quickly rose to the ranks. Through the ranks.
With the help of you guys, though, too.
Well, because like you said, and it all comes down to this. We go, I wouldn't mind being in a car for 4 hours with this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you would say, like, who's on the show? And say, oh, that's nice.
That guy,
That'll
right,
be good. That'll be fun.
Because sometimes I show up at shows now, and people go, I'm the opening act, and I go, yeah, I'm gonna have to take your word for that.
Sometimes I see who's on the show, and I'll get there early as I want to do. Go and check in with whoever it is,
Right.
and then go and say, I'm gonna just go sit in my car and wait till the show starts.
And now, do you find any crossover between being a pharmacist and stand-up? Does it ever clash, or does it ever cross over or anything like that?
People come by all the time, like in the pharmacy. They want to say, oh, hey, you're the guy. Let me get a minute. And then really I don't. But I say, yeah, sure. And they tell me some horrible joke or some offensive joke. And it happens quite a bit.
I'll bet more than we...
But I do incorporate pharmacy into my jokes.
Right.
That's my forte, I guess.
Right. I find that even at shows, people come up to you and go, hey, here's a little something you can use in your sketch. And they'll tell you the most racist, homophobic,
they give you some tag,
sexist
thing,
and you go,
or something.
yeah, I'll get right on that.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, great idea.
And then in your head you're going, what is it that you saw me do made you think that was be something I'd want to do?
Think like you need help.
You know what I was thinking about in terms of you being, having, and we all had other jobs, while you're getting started in this. I delivered balloons. I was a gorilla for a time. Those are stories that'll come out on on the Dueling Comedians podcast as we go along. But, like this, you have a job where, like, there's actually client, privilege. Like, people tell you stuff that you can't tell anybody else.
No, I can't.
Like a lawyer.
Yeah.
Or a doctor or a pharmacist.
Or a priest in confession
or a
type of thing.
Right. That's like in the top 1% of keeping your trap shut.
Yeah. I have to be quiet about who's on what.
Yeah.
There were people here earlier today that I know on
what they're taking.
Yeah,
right. You can't tell them. I think, and here's where it got weird for me. Not weird, but this was my thought. Those are professions, you get jammed up in the legal fight, you need a lawyer. I don't care who knows that. You get sick, you need a doctor. I think lower level people should be sworn to secrecy. Like, I don't want the guy at the 7-Eleven going, Tony was in 3 times last week, bought scratch tickets. He must be doing real well.
That's on the subcategory of what you don't want your wife to find out.
Right.
Little things like that.
Maybe they should have that category of where you just, because we've been married a long time.
Not to each other.
No. Although it's in Massachusetts, most of the states we could now.
We could, Same amount of sex, probably.
Sure. Well, that's
none.
That's always right. That was always my thing. Is as you age, I'd go, what's it matter if you're gay or straight? What's the difference who you're not having sex with?
Right.
You know what I mean? You just want someone to cuddle and bring you a beer.
And cook for you.
And cook for you. Yeah, and not clean. And so where can people see you?
Me?
Yeah, I mean,
soon?
besides right now. If they wanted to look right now, they could see you.
I'll be at the Methuen Stop and Shop tomorrow.
Okay.
And then Saturday night I'm at the Kowloon in Saugus.
Right, and check your local listings because we don't know when tomorrow is when you're watching this.
Right.
So just don't show up.
I have a website, artiejcomic.com.
Beautiful.
And I try to keep up with my schedule on that.
All right. We're going to take a break now. That's my sidekick, laugh track Larry's over there.
I can't see him at all.
He likes to keep a low profile.
He's an unseen entity.
You need your glasses.
Oh, I have them too. I took them off. I couldn't find them without.
He's one of the funniest guys I know. Isn't that right, Larry?
I'm very funny. I have a keen sense of humor. I will judge the duel.
Oh, no one more qualified. Why does that one? I gotta have to.
You're listening to Dueling Comedians. Oh man! Now streaming on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. This wicked pissa show will be right back.
This is David Garofalo, and you've heard me say it over and over again for many years. Please support your local cigar retailer. And I mean it. If you don't buy from them, they will go away, and then what? There'll be no place to go. That being said, sometimes you're far away from any cigar shops or a place that doesn't carry the stuff you've been hearing about and you want to try it. That's where twoguyscigars.com comes in. It's the number twoguyscigars.com. And unlike most online cigar shops, at twoguyscigars.com, you can buy a single cigar of whatever you want. You don't have to buy boxes or even 5-packs and suffer through cigars you might not even like. One of this and one of that is acceptable, appreciated, and commonplace at twoguyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. Thank you for your business.
We are back. Actually, we never left. The listener is back from whatever they were listening to.
I'm never leaving.
No, there's cigars and water in a toilet bowl.
Are you kidding?
What else do we need
There's
here?
an award to be won. I'm going for it.
Yeah, it's this, by the way, is the coveted trophy right here. It's 100% acrylic. Stands about, what would you make that, about 5 or 6 inches tall?
No, not that much.
Not
it's
4
4 3/4 inches.
4 3/4 inches. Yeah. It'd make a lovely thing to keep your napkins in place during a windy day at a picnic, But it's coveted, and it's coveted because it says coveted right on it.
Yeah.
We wouldn't falsely advertise that.
No, I would covet that. That's one that they left that out. That would have been the 11th commandment: "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's award."
Do you find your life interfering with your stand-up, like being married and stuff like?
In a way, but sometimes it adds to it as well.
Well, you want to get out of the house.
People said, "Why don't I start comedy earlier?"
Right.
And I said, "Well, I had life.
Yeah.
I had stuff I had to do. I had to get all that nonsense out of the way."
You've seen comedians. This is no kind of a life.
Right. It's like, let me establish a life first, and then do what my heart's telling me to do.
Right. You have 2 kids, so 3 kids.
3 children.
You have 3 children.
3 that we didn't talk about.
Right. Then there's
my 2 daughters and my son, and they're great.
Yeah, but they're adults now, so it gives you more freedom.
Right, and they were in high school at the time, and so they would want to come see me, so I would write bits to embarrass them, and then they would stop coming to see me. So
that's a good thing to do. Yeah. I remember the first time my son ever heard me do a bit, that mentioned my son.
Yeah.
And I never used his name when they were young.
Right.
But he was like, he was appalled. Why are you talking about me? Why, don't you have your own life? I go, you are my life, you nitwit.
Right. That's right.
And I was reminded of that. I was reminded of this story, and I don't know if I've ever told this on stage. I might have once or twice. One time when my son was around 14 or 15, we were driving to New York.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd have the father-son talk with them, It was just him and I in the car.
About the Bruins?
Well, that's what it turned into.
Right.
Because I said to him in a very dad-like way, I go, it's just you and me, a couple of guys. You could ask me anything, about life, love, women, sex, whatever you want. And there was a long pause, and I go, here it comes. He goes, all right, in a fight, who would win, Superman or Batman? And I just go, all right, this is gonna be a fun ride. I can not do that one.
I had my son. We were coming home from a Bruins game, and he was maybe 12, and I said the same kind of thing to him.
Right.
Any questions you have about anything like that or anything like that? And I said, and he just said, he looked at me and said, "You don't know anything." So I said, you're right. I probably don't.
Right. And listen, to a 12-year-old, their parents know nothing.
Right.
Any parent knows nothing.
They find out.
My daughter was a little different. She was always like, yeah.
You got to push your wife in.
And you go, honey. It's like a tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
This one's on you.
She's crying over some kid.
Right. The boy crying.
God.
Is nuts. You go, I got nothing.
You hear him in there crying.
The thing you're crying about, I was that guy.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think, you ready for this?
I think so.
On our inaugural show?
I hope so.
You want to push the button? You want me to do it?
You.
All right.
Does that mean I start?
Yeah, I'm going to push the button, and you got to go do a bit.
I got to go first?
Yes.
Then I'll push the button.
Okay, you push the button. That's now.
So you're gonna start.
Okay. I was thinking about this. That years ago I was hooked on late night TV. And I'm talking late night, 1 o'clock on, where one of the channels used to turn into the Knife Channel. I don't know if you recall that, where there'd be a guy. All they do is sell knives. You can buy 120 knives for about $30.
And they cut through a shoe.
Right. And they'd show you hacking through stuff. And then one night I'm watching it, and I noticed the guy was missing 2 fingers. And I go this guy really fell into his business. You can get the hunter's knife, you can get the folding knife, you can get the thing. And I go, the dude's missing 2 fingers.
Do I hit the button? I never go to the doctors. And when I did go the last time, this is a few years ago, my regular physician didn't show up, and they had a woman instead. And they asked me if it was okay. I said, sure, that's all right. So they said, take off all your clothes, all the way to your underwear. Good idea to wear underwear to the doctors, because if you don't have underwear, then you got nothing. And so I put on this gown backwards, put on these grippy socks, sit over there on the white paper on the exam table, and she'll come in. So 45 minutes later, as I'm studying the central nervous system on some chart on the wall, she comes in with the clipboard. She goes, you nervous? I said, yeah, I'm kind of nervous. I was real sweating, and the sweat was running down my back, going to my underwear, and it was all wet. So now I'm stuck to the paper, sitting there all stuck to the paper. And she asked me these questions, got the clipboard, and she goes, do you have the fear of falling? And I said, well, no, I'm stuck to the paper. And I got on the grippy sock, so I'm probably not. Why, you going to push me or something? And she said, no, I'm not going to touch you at all. I said, well, that's a relief. And then she says, do you drink? I said, no. And she goes, do you smoke? I said, cigars once in a while. She goes, do you exercise? I said, not since 1982. And then she said, this is the kicker. She goes, do you feel safe in your own home? And I said, well, no, not particularly. It's very dangerous in my house. I got the whole menopause thing going on there, and I never know what's going to happen. Hit the button.
My favorite guy of all time was Ron Popeil. Do you remember Ron Popeil, who would sell anything?
Oh, yes.
Ronco.
Yes.
Right? And it was the same late night TV kind of thing, where he'd come on and he had the jerky maker, which was my favorite product of all times, because he'd come on and go, how much have you spent on jerky last year? And I would think in my head, I don't think I spent a nickel on jerky. You know what I mean? Like, I'm yelling at my wife, hey, honey, you're killing us with the jerky over here. We're going to go broke. So he goes, you can make your own jerky at home. I go, or I could go to the store and buy some jerky.
So the doctor says to me, this woman, she says, when do you feel threatened? I said, well, only when I'm at home with her. When I drive away, I'm okay. But if I'm at home with her, it's no good. So, but I tried to warn my children about this whole menopausal thing. You know, I had 2 adult children living in the house at the time, 26 and 27. The 28-year-old moved out when she was 18, never came back, love her the most. But I tried to warn them. I said, look, if you see your mom in the kitchen, she's looking kind of bloated, all red from the neck up, and laying on the floor perhaps just to cool off her forehead on the tile, and she's holding like a chainsaw, don't go in there. But I want to remind my wife I love her, I want to take care of her. Every night I lay down next to her and whisper those 3 little words in her ear just to remind her, don't stab me.
So then my love of late night TV turned into my love of reality shows, and I go back to Swamp People, which was my favorite show of all time. And as far as I'm concerned, the only thing that should be on TV is Swamp People. There should be like a 24-hour-a-day Swamp People channel, because it's the only show I know that's in English but has subtitles. Because these toothless yahoos from the swamp are going, well, we're going to kiss this grater, and we're going to get them, and we're going to eat them, and we're going to skim them. And you go, I have no idea what you just said there. And they had this one guy, him and his son were out hunting gators, right? And he's going, all right, son, you're going to shoot him. He got him on a hook, and the gator's in the boat, and the guy's got a rifle that's going to put a hole in the boat. And he goes, I got him, Pa. And he, bam! And sure enough, hole in the boat.
My wife and I have been married for so long that, like, she no longer questions why my underwear's in the trash. You know? It goes through stages like that. It's like, I guess we're going to have to get him new underwear. Because once in a while, you know, you think it's just a fart, but
at a certain age, yeah.
Yes.
And so now I'm hooked on a late night show called Naked and Afraid, which could sum up my sex life for my entire life. But that's the thing where they get 2 people, right? And they put them in a very tenuous situation on an island or rainforest, and they give them like a canteen and a Swiss Army knife, and you got to survive for 21 da's, right? And they always come back to get them 21 days, and they're emaciated. They've lost like 30 pounds. They're bug bit. They got sunburn. They got fungus on them, right? It's awful. If I ever did that show, you pull up 3 weeks in to get me, I'd be sitting on a pile of bones all by myself, 40 pounds heavier.
My kids are gone now, so it's now just her and I, me and her, and we only have 1 bathroom in my house. You were talking about that earlier, and it was just 1 bathroom, and it was fine when the kids were there. You know, everybody was very polite. We got to know each other very well. The door was always closed, but never locked. Never locked the door. Now her and I alone, door's locked. I don't know why. It's just her and I. We've been together for 41 years. I go to the bathroom, and the door's locked. And she's like, I don't want you to see me naked. I said, I don't want to see you naked. I just want to come in and take a piss.
That's it. That's it. It's over.
That's it?
That's it, Larry.
Well,
that was the first duel right there, and we're both standing.
yeah, I had tears in my eyes.
Are you going to recover? You're going to be all right?
I'm doing okay. I'm ready to announce
all right.
the winner.
Coveted award.
Tony V.
My first one. Oh, my God. I am so relieved right now. Well,
Now, Tony, Artie was very funny.
he is very funny.
Pharmacology is humorous.
It is. Perhaps I can come back and try again.
Anytime you want, Artie.
I would love to.
As with everything I do in my life,
I'll be more prepared because this was like taking the bullet. This was the inaugural show.
This was
I wasn't
you'll
sure
come next time.
when to hit the button. Should I kick into your? Should I laugh at your jokes?
Of course you should.
That works against me. I don't know.
Why would you be like anybody else?
I always laugh when it's funny.
Yeah. Well, that was our first Dueling Comedians. We are unscathed.
We are.
We remain friends.
I'm glad I left the
it can
sword
be
in the
done.
car.
If you want to hear this episode again or any old episodes, please tell all your friends about it and go to the United Podcast Network. .tv. That's United Podcast Network .tv. You can find the podcast and the vodcast. That's the video on demand. If you want to watch it and find the full episode, all previous episodes on the United Podcast .tv network. Please subscribe and share. I'm Tony V. Bye.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.